Welcome back, everybody. We're in again. This is the third game of the day. This is going to be Agilitas versus Heroes and Zeros. And after their previous game they've both played, they both came out with a defeat. So this one's going to be very important, correct, to stay in contention to an extent for trying to get into the Pro League.
Yeah, and now Heroes and Zeros have had a little bit of time to rest, recuperate. They probably watched the last game, so maybe they have a handle on how to deal with the Circuit if Agilitas does go for it again. Agilitas is changing it up there. They're banning out Aphrodite when they did pick her first last time.
I'm guessing they might look for a sort of different composition. They may have had strategies for each of the games coming into this. I mean,
Sure.
they've had time to strategize against all these teams. Maybe this one's going to be a play standard sort of thing, nothing unusual. Maybe we'll see Circuit again, we're not sure. I mean, I don't necessarily think Circuit's a bad pick, let's be honest. I just think she had a very bad early game after the initial invade from Frostiak on that last game. So, Ram being banned out from Zindern here and the rest of Agilitas, not surprising. Ram is very, very strong.
Yeah, Ram's very strong. And you know, the other thing about Circuit is I think there were two opportunities that Zindern had to try and make a recovery, but he didn't get the mechanics perfect, in my opinion, right? Like, he auto-attacked too early and dropped some poisons with the Catalyst, and the little inefficiencies might have cost him his attempt at recovery. Is Circuit's a very demanding character as well. Either way, Osiris is going to be banned away by Heroes and Zeros, and that's going to be a Loki first pick. It seems we're in North America for this game.
Loki available in the solo and the duo, solo jungle as well. So, and can play mid on the odd occasion as well. So it's kind of, a situational pick. You're not necessarily sure where he's going to go just yet. So it leaves the board a little bit open. Heroes and Zeros, though, get two picks of their own. And once again, Jean-Qui being hovered over here, Krat. And he seems to be the flavor right now on EU, like Jean-Qui every game.
Yeah, I mean, he's very, very strong, and with no one really playing Nemesis, there's not too much to do against him, especially given the fact that Agilitas, Pretty Prime is essentially a mage player, and Confrey is essentially a mage player. I don't think I've really seen much Bruiser out of either of them, so that means Loki is probably in the jungle role, and even if Zindern wanted to play it, I don't think he'd be handing off that Loki to the other members of the team. I just don't know if they're comfortable on it. It's going to be Athena and Apollo instead locked in for Agilitas, the double global duo lane, and they're up against a Geb for sure, but they don't know what Hunter they're going to be up against just yet.
Sure. I mean, the one thing about Agilitas right now, you've got Loki with the invisibility, Athena can use the Defender of Olympus on him, and then Apollo can dunk down from the sky as well. Good composition for rotations and big-time ganks coming out from Agilitas, but Heroes and Zeros lock in Thor, and they've got quite a tanky lineup right now.
Yeah, and I quite like Thor and the way he's played right now. There's a solid choice between Berserk Barrage and Mjolnir's Attunement that creates some interesting playstyle variations between player to player. I personally prefer Mjolnir's Attunement because I think the poke is super good, but Berserker Barrage is so great at confirming that damage essentially for free, and there's a lot of interesting combos, and you could do a lot with Thor. A little bit similar to the Fenrir play that we saw out of Iraffer. He's a character that's strong in one way early game, and if he gets super fed, he can keep doing it all game long, but if he doesn't, you have to find a way to transition, which can be very effective, but it can be a little bit rocky. It's going to be an Agni ban away from Heroes and Zeros. That tells me one thing. Well, first of all, respect, but second of all, they want to gank mid.
Yeah, they might want to gank mid, and they're going to pick Ra as well, Heroes and Zeros. You can see Artemis banned out by Agilitas, and that doesn't leave too many options on the table in terms of hunters right now. These competitive hunters that we normally see here, Krat, really only Neath. I mean, we saw some Anher, but Anher into Apollo, not so sure about. Maybe it's going to be just the Neath pickup here. Or
Yeah,
Ul, actually, just Ul as well. I forgot about that one.
Ul would be very good. I'm just not sure Anher can really control Apollo enough to really make that lane worthwhile, and Heroes and Zeros are taking some time to pick, but Agilitas, they've locked in the Vulcan probably for Pretty Prime, and that means it's going to be Confrey on solo Chuck, so he is going to be playing a Bruiser this game, not running that mage like he usually does, but I mean, Chalk is the one warrior that you sometimes see in the middle lane, so I think it is in his god pool. I just can't wait to see Pretty Prime on Vulcan. I love this pick on this player. And Heroes and Zeros, it looks like they're going to pick and lock in Cupid.
Cupid locked in by Vastrica. That's going to be an unusual one. We don't see it that often, let's be honest, Krat. It's not one we do see. He has a lot of damage, but the problem is confirming that damage. It's a lot like a Vulcan to an extent. Vulcan's got a lot of damage, hard to confirm it. Same with Cupid.
Yeah, not only is Heart Bomb sort of the ability that you have to land. Fields of Love is, of course, you kind of drop it and hope it hits someone, hope they
Yeah.
don't Heavenly Agility out of it, or at least accept that it's going to blow Heavenly Agility all game, which honestly isn't too bad. Just to have an ability that makes sure that they're using that active, maybe even beats on top. But Heart Bomb is a weird projectile. It's super important to hit it, and I think this lane is going to come down to just how Vastricol's mechanics are with that one ability, and if he can keep the harass on to Ataraxia with that Heart Bomb, it could be very strong. Another question: are we going to see the Heavy Hammer again?
I'm interested to see that too. I mean, we'll see if it does work out. Because if he does go for it, it looks like he's going to be Atraxia's standard sort of starting item on that. And then other hunters may follow suit. We'll see as this one kicks off, guys. Agilitas versus Heroes Zero. Zerdo will be in the jungle, and Chuck, just to confirm that as well, will be Comfrey solo lane Loki. We'll be right back though once these guys have loaded in. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back once again. This is going to be Agilitas versus Heroes and Zeros. This is a big game as both these teams have lost their first game in these round-robin stages. And off the bat, we're going to see Agilitas going to be fighting from the bottom half of your map, left-hand side of your spectator UI. Pretty Prime's going to be playing Vulcan. Comfrey's going to be playing Loki in the solo lane. Ataraxia is going to be playing the Hunter of Apollo in the duo, along with Kanye Life and Athena. And Zindon in the jungle is Chuck.
On the other side, it's going to be Heroes and Zeros. They've got Darzer in the jungle as... I love that skin. Blood Eagle Thor in the solo lane. It's going to be Arn King on Zhang Kuei in the mid lane. Enigma on Ra. Cupid, played by Vestrical, in the Hunter role. And Mugiwawa as support on Geb.
Now, early off, a couple of early wards going down from Agilitas and Heroes and Zeros. Agilitas making sure they ward up for starting area with Zhang Kui to keep an eye on what their decision making is going to be there overall. And it looks like there maybe, I don't think there's going to be any contestation between the two right at the start here. But one thing to note, right off the bat, Heavy Hammer is once again on Ataraxia on this Apollo.
Yeah, this time though, he's not going to be going into the Boots 1 along with it, so not really prioritizing that mobility up against the Cupid. We'll see how that ends up bringing out, and I'm interested to see sort of his timing. Is like, when is he going to pick up those boots? Is he going to go Heartseeker, Devo Gauntlets? What's he going to do? As for Vastrical, he's going to be going into Death Soul and Heartseeker, so looking to get a lot of those physical damage, probably going that double stack build.
I mean, he did only buy 3 health potions as well, did this Apollo. And that means he's got 280 gold in the bank to start with at the start of this game, Kret, which means he can rush onto it. And a lot of aggression on Mugiwawa. The slows are being applied from that Heavy Hammer. He rolls in with the level 2. Mugiwawa's just stuck there like, well, life's over. I'll give up on him. First blood goes over to Agilitas. Heavy Hammer pays dividends. Pause comes out. So we've got a bit of a pause coming out here at the moment. Bit of a discussion going on. But that Heavy Hammer there, Kret, paid dividends for them. Overall, straight away, a lot of aggression onto Mugiwawa. I'm not sure if there was a DC. I'm guessing by the way he just stood still there. Or that's why the pause has come out.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly might have been. The Cupid just wasn't able to get into position to body block for his support. And, you know, it's such a standard play that you almost don't think about it. But when you hit level 2 on Apollo, dashing forward with Audacity activated from the dash, it can be very strong, and he was just able to pump damage into the Geb, who essentially has no way out in this early phase of the game, right? Like, Sobek and Athena would be able to charge out. Athena might take a little bit to do it, but Geb, you can start rolling out, and then you get taunted, and you're right back in. It's really rough, and
I mean, he was
that
level
first
1.
blood is big. Yeah,
he was level
that's
1,
also
so
true.
he didn't have level 2 to take rollout or shield in that situation. The full minion wave is still there, as we can see on the screen right now. But that first blood over to Apollo. So what we're going to see here, guys, is Heroes and Zeros are actually... So can you just confirm that again for me, production, please? Confirm it
It's gonna be a combat pause coming out. It's a combat pause coming out from Heroes and Zeros due to a fight in the right-hand lane that happened as they paused in the left-hand lane. So Agilitas will be receiving the victory, and we will be moving on to our next round match. We'll be back in just a few minutes, guys, so stay tuned for our next round of action.
Hi guys, just to let you know, after that game, what happened, Heroes and Zeros were DQ'd due to the fact that they paused during an engagement that was currently happening in the solo lane at the time of the pause. We did see that happen. We did see that happen the week before as well, and that actually happened to Expose Secrets against Heroes and Zeros. But they've only DQ'd from that one game, so they are still in the round robin tournament. They're still going to play on this weekend. They just lose that game, so Agilitas do go 1-0 up in that one. That's going to bring Agilitas to 1-1. Heroes and Zeros will be 0-2. We'll be back though shortly once Walk It Off and Expose Secrets are both ready to go, and these guys are the ones that everyone will be eyeing up right now because they're both in command and control. We'll be right back though with that game as soon as the players are ready.